Hello, everyone. It's Psychic Juicy, and I am going to be discussing ghosts with you today. I made a few notes. I've had several of my clients and people from the spiritual group that I belong to message me about things that go bump in the night. And yes, things that go bump in the night do exist. There are entities, there are ghosts, and so your fear is real, your child's fear is real. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about ghosts. First of all, ghosts are the spirits of deceased mortals, as we call them. And they seem to be seen more often in damp, low pressure climates like England and Ireland, where it's swampy and rainy. There's plenty of atmosphere for a ghost to kind of hold on to and materialize. So, when they make movies with the lightning and the thunder, they're not too far off because that's the kind of weather that ghosts cling to. In the U.S., you have more hauntings in southern states like South Carolina, Louisiana, hot, humid, again, very attractive for a ghost. You have less hauntings in places like Arizona or Kansas, where you have dust storms and it's bone dry. There's nothing for them to kind of hold on to. So, the most common times I can say that I know of ghosts appearing and frightening people is when someone is moving into a new home or when someone is remodeling a home. That's when ghost activity tends to um, happen most often. It's not to say that it's the only time. I'm not saying never does it come for no other reason, but usually something has changed. There's new occupants in the house, or you redo your kitchen, or you redo your bathroom, and you've changed it from what the residents prior to you had before, and they don't like it. So now, if we can, and a lot of times you can, get rid of them easily and gently. Or, like in my family, when I was growing up, we lived in an apartment building. The whole building was haunted. Everybody in the building saw the ghost. Some people would be talking about the lady with the pocketbook. Somebody else was talking about the man at the window. But even though everybody saw them, nobody was disturbed. People were frightened, but they didn't interact with us. They just went about their merry way, went through the wall, went to the sink, went through the window, but they didn't speak and they didn't make noise. The mice in our apartment made more noise than those ghosts. But of course, as a little girl, I was terrified. I saw this lady glide into the kitchen sink, and I went running to my dad, who had seen the ghost as well. But my dad was logical, like Dr. Spock from Star Trek. And what he said was, "Little Juicy, the ghosts live here just like we do, and we have to learn to live with them." And I never was afraid of ghosts since then. I guess I was about 5. He was so logical and he had no fear. So since he wasn't afraid, I wasn't afraid either. Actually, I was more afraid of the lights from the highway shining on my bedroom wall at night because they looked like two big eyes. But the ghosts, they didn't bother us. So, I wanted to also let you know that I always wondered after that building was torn down, I would pass by there in my car as an adult. It would be a gas station or be a little market. I always wondered, were the ghosts haunting the gas station? Were the ghosts haunting the market? Was it the property or was it the building? I never knew that. I always was curious about that. But as an adult, if you show no fear, more than likely the child wouldn't. But don't invalidate the child saying, "I heard something in my room." Turn on a light if they want the light on. Turn on a radio, turn on a TV. Let them have some comfort. Don't invalidate their fear, because after all, most of you were raised believing there was some guy with a pitchfork and a pointed tail, and he was, invading your thoughts, and so you believe in angels and all these things that are in these different religious organizations, but we don't believe things we actually see with our own eyes. And I often compare it to you hearing footsteps, loud footsteps outside your bedroom window late at night, and you pick up the phone and dial 911 and tell the dispatcher you hear noise outside. Could you please send an officer over? And the dispatcher says, "Oh, there's nothing out there. That's just a cat or probably a tree branch scraping upside your window." How would you feel? Somebody just invalidated your fear and said it's not even worth investigating. Go back to bed. But of course, the sound is not going to go away. So the first thing you should do is show no fear, because ghosts can use your fear as energy and absorb it. Because let's face it, they're dead. They don't have much or none. Your fear feeds them. It's easy for me to say because when they made Psychic Juicy, they broke the mold. But fear feeds them. So if you feel paralyzed, get out of your bed the best way you can. Cut on the light. Cut on the radio, cut on the TV, make lots of noise. Ghosts don't like lights and they don't like noise. So that's the first thing. The second thing you can do, if that doesn't work also, is try turning on a tape recorder and see if you feel like that's somebody you know. Is that a friend or a loved one? Sometimes it is. A lot of people have had success with spirit voices. I never did. I never get anything recorded, but you may. You can try that, and if nothing else, the the um, the the energetic thing that with the tape will draw the ghost's energy. It'll pull him almost or her to nothing. It will drain them. If then, and most of the time you have the edge. You're the person that's living, so you're the one with all of the energy. Also, I wanted to tell you that I remember one, probably my first client. I think I was in 11th or 12th grade. I was in high school, and a lady told me about a ghost in her house, and what could she do? And I said, well, let me come over. So I think I went over there one day after school, and she had these two huge German shepherds in the car that would not go in that house. People, that's your first clue that something is in your home, because domestic animals are very sensitive to ghosts. Cats and dogs know right away. So if they are arching their backs and they're hissing and scratching, there's something there. Same with dogs. I had a collie once that there was a part of the house the collie wouldn't go into. And that's the part of the house where I saw all of the ghosts. And they were harmless. I liked to see them. They were quite comforting, but the dog didn't want no parts of it. So, don't leave your child in a totally dark room. If they need a little night light or a little lamp on their nightstand, put it there for them. I don't even leave my dog in the house without a TV or a light on. And also, like I said, the lady had the elderly owner had passed away the year before. She purchased the home. She, by the time I got there, this old lady was wreaking havoc. She was moving stuff around. She was turning lights on and off. And I went in there. I felt somebody there, but they weren't stepping forward, which is how I call it now. Back then, I didn't know what to call it. But I really didn't know what I was going to do. But I was going to do something. But my spirit guide put the thought in my mind. Elderly people don't like loud music. They don't want to hear no loud heavy metal rock music. And when I was in high school, I was a big disco fan. But a lot of the guys that didn't like disco would wear these shirts deaf to disco, and it was about heavy metal. So I told her if you could get a heavy metal record and play it as loud as the neighbors could tolerate it, it'll wear the ghost down. And within 2 weeks, she was bringing her dogs back in her home, those two big German shepherds, two big beasts, and they happily ran through the door. So, I solved that problem. She never gave me 10 cents. To this day, that lady had never gave me a dime. But I was so proud of myself. I felt like, wow, I can do this. Also, I know people who like to use the Ouija board to try to contact spirits. I'm not against the Ouija board. It's never worked for me. I've had Ouija boards. I've gone to people's homes. I've been invited to work with the Ouija board, but no spirits show up when I come. So, the I'm not against them, even though people say they're portals, because mirrors are portals. And I don't think you're going to be taking the mirrors in your house down, or are you going to stop looking at them? So, there were a lot of portals. Let's see what else I have written down here for you about these ghosts. Um, so, the biggest thing to me is not to have any fear. Or also, you can go when the libraries open back up. Right now, with the pandemic, you can't go, but you can research the ghosts in your area. I'm sure, like a lot of cases, are well documented. You may not necessarily be the first one in that area that recognize that there were spirits crossing you. So, like I said, if you think of somebody try the tape recorder. At least the tape recorder will wear down some of their energy. Or maybe a computer if you're really computer savvy. Um, and then last but not least, I would try to explain to the ghost that this is my home. And I live here now and I don't wish to be disturbed again. I mean, tell them calmly and quietly, but with authority and firmness. Let them know, you mean what you say, and then I might also throw in that I plan to take good care of your home. That I love it here, and I'm gonna stay here. I'm not leaving. If it's your home, your apartment, whatever it is, you live there. You fight for it if it's necessary. You fight for it. Like I said, you have the edge. You're the living person, so you have more energy than any deceased person. Also, I personally have never blessed any place that I've lived. Every place that I moved to, I just walk in the door and plop down. But that's me. And when they made me, they broke the mold. So, if you feel that you need to and your religious belief permits, sprinkle holy water, get the bell, the book, and the candle, and go from room to room and bless every room. If that would make you feel better, before you run to a ghost buster or ghost hunter, or even before I would go to a priest, I would try on my own first. Because don't forget, these are people who once lived here. We're not talking about anything demonic now. I'm talking about a mortal, a human being that's passed on. Demons and that's a whole nother thing. House cleansing and exorcism are not the same. So, this is Psychic Juicy. I've had a ghost in my home, the last home I owned. I felt welcomed every time I came in. And the universe works so mysteriously and so funny because I dialed a number. I used to always feel when I came home from work that I was being welcomed in. I actually dialed a number and was trying to reach some place, but I got a lady on the phone and she said, "I'm sorry, dear, you had the wrong number." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry too." And she said, "Oh, wait, before you hang up, there's a ghost in your house." I said, "There is?" I was so excited. She said, "Yeah." I said, "I always feel like somebody welcomed me home." She said, "Yes." She said, "He owned the property before you came there, and he's happy that you live there. And he was there for, I guess, about 11 months. And then I opened the door one day and he was gone. And I really kind of missed him. He was kind of nice to have around. So, just be kind to each other. Thank you for listening. Be kind to the earth. Let's leave the earth a better place than it was before we got there. Don't throw your trash out in the street. You know, be kind to animals. Be kind to each other. Stop using racial slurs against one another. Stop fighting and shooting and cutting and doing all of these awful things. I remember I always wanted to see a fairy, and I was in my 50s before I ever saw one. But they don't like to come near humans because of how we treat each other and how we've treated the planet. So, let's take care of each other as best we can and take care of the animals. And if you have a garden and you have space, leave a patch in your yard, just wild. Don't do anything to it. Let the grass grow, let the weeds grow, even let dead branches fall there. And the fairies will gather there and make it a home and make the environment safe for you and your loved ones. So, thanks for listening. And if there's any more questions that you have, just send me a message and I will try to get to you and answer them. I hope I've answered everybody's questions the best that I could, but for the most part, most hauntings are not that serious. They're nothing that you need a priest to come in for. Most of them, I think, are pretty simple to handle, and if you can't, reach out to someone like myself and maybe we can evaluate the situation before, you go completely overboard. So until next time, stay well. Bye bye.